All right. I think we're good to go here. And yeah, I think we are good to go. Just double checking microphone levels, etc. I think everything should be good. Just double checking everything. So yeah, I think everything's good to go. Anyway, so I'm just having some problems with some microphone issues here. I'm going to stop this and restart. All right, welcome back. So just making sure that everything is working out correctly. Then we'll get started as soon as possible. So yeah, just welcome everybody. So hopefully we can get this ready to go. All right, just making this work here. All right, so okay, cool. All right, so I think we're about ready to go. Just want to make sure that everything is live and good to go. All right, perfect. Okay, good. Excellent. So let's see. Just trying to make sure. All right, look at this. We have someone saying hello. That's great. Perfect. All right, welcome everybody. Okay, so we're going to wait about a couple of minutes so that everyone can get in. And then once everyone is in, then once everyone's in, we're going to come out and start. We'll start everything here. So while everyone is here, what I'm going to talk about is just going to talk about some of the cool stuff that's been happening at Mammoth Interactive. First things first, there's this Kickstarter where you get to make a battle royale. This is awesome, and it's a really awesome Kickstarter. You get to make a battle royale from scratch. There's going to be a big announcement tomorrow, so make sure that you're back here tomorrow, or you check out Mammoth Interactive's Twitter. Tomorrow we will be announcing something big with this Kickstarter here. But please pledge for this. There's limited spots in it, and it's a really awesome deal to get some of Mammoth Interactive's courses. And of course, if you want to get lifetime access, you can too, which means that you get all of these cool courses, right? And so we're constantly producing courses. We just released 2 courses from our Global Intern Program. And if you don't know what that is, basically we try to hire people to make a course, and we want to hire as many people as possible to make courses. So if you like making courses, then you can check us out. You can contact us on our website. That's mammothinteractive.com. Okay. So if you weren't here in the last live stream, we basically made some levels for this game, Pluvo, which I then uploaded to the App Store. So all those new levels are on the App Store, and you can go check out all the levels here. Pluvo here. Working on trying to get this to export to the Mac App Store. Working on that now. It's a little bit complicated because Construct 3 doesn't have a Mac app export. For those of you who don't know, the Mac App Store is this little thing here, right? And it's not the iOS App Store, it's different. But believe it or not, the game Escape Code is doing actually quite well in the Mac App Store. So if you don't know what Escape Code is, Escape Code's a point-and-click adventure that has puzzle mechanics in it as well. And these puzzle mechanics have code, so you get to code your way out. If you like escape rooms, Escape Code is the game for you. If you like coding, it's also awesome. One thing I should mention about Escape Code is that it's not an educational game. You actually, I tried to make the coding challenges as fun as possible. It's not kind of like a beat your head over the, beat your head with a stick kind of educational game. It has coding in it, but it's as fun as possible, right? So it's also available for iOS devices. It was coded completely in SpriteKit, which is an interesting choice because you can only release it for Mac software. But for the most part, yeah, go and download it because it's awesome. Okay, and if you want to download for Steam too, we do have it there. Okay, and lastly, please support us on Patreon. $1 a month might not be a lot to you, but it is a lot to us. And one of the hardest parts about running a business is recurring revenue. And Mammoth Interactive doesn't have a lot of recurring revenue. We do have subscriptions. If you like our, by the way, if you do like our content, you can always subscribe on our website. But $1 a month would go a long way. All that money gets put back into the business in some way, shape, or form. So the money is well spent. The more patrons we get through Patreon, the more cool stuff we can do, because again, running a business is pretty expensive. And we're a bootstrap company, meaning that, you know, I've basically funded the entire company myself. I could probably go get some investors if I wanted to, but for the most part, it's bootstrapped. So any pledge there is welcome. Also, I should let you know that there is a contest for every single live stream. So every single live stream, we give away a 3-month subscription to our website. All you have to do is tweet out a specific tweet and show up. So if you're watching this in the future where we're not live, then please do that. The specific tweet should be in the comments. My assistant should be able to put that in there. All right. So for the most part, I think that's about it. I'm just looking at this here. And I just want to make sure that, okay, so we got some people watching here. And I think that's mostly it for now. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and start here. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working with the same kind of art style as Pluvo, this kind of minimalist art style here. But this game is a little bit different. Okay, so this game, I think this game is pretty awesome. And what I did is I basically took all of the kind of like a template of Pluvo and I made something a little bit different. Now this game in particular is called Remember Lights Out. Okay, now Remember Lights Out is a game where there is light and you have to remember as you collect it. So it's a really cool mechanic. So first things first, like there's a few things that we'll need to do, like we'll need to replace this sun here. We've got some really cool particle effects, but this first level is pretty simple. It shows you the mechanics. It kind of gets you over that little hump, and it shows you what to do. And that's really what the first level does here. Now, what's cool about this game is you have to collect all the light orbs before you get to the door, and you'll notice that the game is completely dark. Okay, it's completely dark. It's really cool, and since it's completely dark, you have to remember the level. So, you know, I made a few prototype levels. I was going to do this all by myself and not do it live, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do it live. And this is a really cool concept, meaning that the game gets harder as you progress through the level. I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. And I really like the idea of using all these particles to make the game more flashy, okay? So there's a few things that we need to do in order to make this work. But we'll get to this level, and this level is really, really hard. I'm not even gonna do it live, it's so hard, right? So basically, it's taking this concept of remembering, and I'm making a game out of it, okay? And of course, there's a few things like, you know, this is in debug mode, like I can hit these spikes no matter what, and nothing's gonna happen because, it's just, nothing's gonna happen because you're in debug mode. You'll also notice that the game itself, if I restart the level, it starts off by illuminating the entire level, and then it slowly gets dark. So you still have a chance to remember what the entire level is, right? And then everything kind of fades to black here, okay? I think that's kind of cool. All right, so, you know, you have to remember how the level works. And then the reason why I also put in those particles is because then it illuminates, not completely illuminates the level, but it sort of illuminates the level, right? And, you know, the other thing about this game here is that the control scheme is really awesome. Okay, now obviously I'm using the, yeah. So I mean, like this game is hard. This game is pretty hard. So I mean, a lot of the times it's hard for me to even pass these levels. So I might even make a few other levels that are really easy just to get to people to kind of understand how it works. But for the most part, there's a couple more mechanics that I want to show you. First things first is that there's some of these here, like these little elongated ones. Those are always on, all right? So since they're always on, because they're always on, I felt like I needed that as I was just kind of prototyping this game. And the reason for that was, well, basically the game would be way too hard without it, because like a level like this would be almost impossible to do, right? And as you can see, some of the messages actually come back, or they come out when when the whole level is done here. Okay, so I basically made about 10 levels of this here, and not, well, it doesn't even look like it's 10 levels here, but it's like not even close, but it's about 9. Okay, so let's take a look at one thing here, and if I go into any kind of regular scene, the way I've built this up is you got the GUI, we got the dark layer, and then we have the player layer. And then the dark layer is, I believe, where all of the kind of magic happens, okay? And that's where, you know, all the light gets put on, right? So we got the player layer, the tile layer, and then we also have the background too. Okay, so the other thing is that there is a background to this. So you look at this here, right? So yeah, I believe that it's on the dark layer here. So let's take a look, and we have a whole bunch of these different items here. So now would be a good time to add in the launcher. So I'm just going to add in this launcher here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of move it here. And the other thing is we do want to snap this to the grid. And I believe we do want to snap this. Let's try 1616 and show the grid. Yeah, I think that's good to go. Yeah, okay, so there we go. So if we put this on the dark layer, okay, let's just run that for a second. So you can see that if it's on the dark layer, it shows up, okay? And you'll notice that the dark layer has to be completely black in order for it to work, okay? So as you can see that's there too. So the launcher, basically it launches you into something, okay? Now let's go ahead and let's, in order to make the dark layer work, you have to actually make this visible first, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are going to just make a very, very simple level with the dark layer here. And in order to do that, let's kind of add the tile map, and let's go ahead and okay, cool. So let's kind of do that, and then let's kind of add in some thing like this. That probably works out. And somehow I feel like that's not going to be quite the way I want it to work. And then just emphasize that a bit more. And I'm going to copy that onto here. Okay. Next thing is we need to add in one of these orbs here. Okay. And of course, the orb we want to put on the dark layer. Okay. And the reason why we want to put it on the dark layer, and the thing about this is that we can add in as many of these orbs as we want. And I kind of like that idea. You know, just adding in lots of these orbs, because it darkens, and that darkness is somewhat satisfying. So one of the things that you need to understand when there is a level is to make it as quickly as possible. And that reminds me of one thing before I continue. In the tutorials that we do, we always try to make it the tutorials that we do, we always try and make them as clear as possible. And this is a live presentation. This is not going to be the same as a tutorial here. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that the lights here, right? What they do is they also mask the launcher here. Okay. And you'll also see that you weren't quite able to get up there. So let's go ahead and let's kind of add in a jumping block there. So we always want to make sure that we can do everything and that works. All right, and so as long as it works and as long as we can get there, perfect. And then the door goes up. There we go. And then yeah, we can technically hit that. In fact, we should probably make the door like a little bit higher, just to make it a little bit. And it's probably on a different layer. Which layer is it on? It's on the player layer. So let's take that down. We do need the text there, so let's kind of put it up there. I think we can get to that. So let's just quickly get to that here. Yeah, we can get to that. Perfect. So that's basically all that we're trying to do here. We're just trying to make sure. We're just trying to make sure that everything is working here, and I want to do these levels as quickly as humanly possible. Okay. So in order to do that, I do have a couple of templates. Okay. So we got template 1. Template 2, and the reason why I use those templates is simply because I want to be able to copy and paste them, or duplicate them, right? And we'll call this 11 here. Okay, so we'll see how many levels I get done today, but for the most part, we'll go from here. There's also a bunch of other cool things that we can end up doing. For example, we have Goombas. We have all these other awesome things here. So mostly this is going to be level design, but in the future there will be game designs. There will be game. Well, basically, I'll be trying to make a whole game from scratch live. That I'm working on it, but not quite there yet. Okay. So whenever I start off a level, let's see. Let's maybe start here. And before I even actually go forward here, for template 2, I'm going to make sure the grid is being shown as well, just so that I can kind of see where everything is. And yeah, so I think that's probably pretty good. Yeah, so the reason why the text has to be done on the player layer is because if we don't, then it won't be highlighted in a specific way. Okay, and I've set that up in the back end. Okay, so let's do this here. Let's kind of move everything down here, and let's make a level here. So I always like these ones where you kind of go down, right? And right now we don't have any kind of hazards for the most part, but I'd say that's not a bad idea. We can make it so that, we kind of go down, we go up, we have this kind of thing in the middle here. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Just like that. Okay. Let's add in some spikes. Now, what's interesting about the spikes is that we have to add in a whole other kind of. We have to add it. Well, I like to personally add in some sprites. When it comes to Construct 3, I find everything is sprite dependent, so it makes sense to, use sprites for collisions and everything. And setting them up programmatically is a little bit more challenging. So, okay, now I think that's a good level that we can set up here. Let's go and let's kind of just close these off here. And let's use the dark layer. We're going to need some launchers here. So the last, yeah, there we go. And undo that. Launcher. Yeah, so probably like that. Maybe one here. And one here. Okay, that looks good. Now, the other thing I did with this game, and that I would have to remember, is that if I push space, everything works. I just have to kind of remember where everything is. And then that launcher there in the middle isn't a very good idea. Or, better yet, we just simply take out this middle section here. And that actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, so basically we have these here. Let's go ahead and let's see, where is that? The orb. Okay, so we're going to want to put that back on the, where is that? The orb. Here we go. So we're just going to make it, you know, just add these orbs in here. And we want to make sure that we can actually get them all. And the rest, now the other way I've kind of set this up is that, you know, because I know that everything works, there's certain things I don't have to test every single time, like the door, okay? I mean, sometimes it doesn't work, but in this case, you know, I just kind of make it work here. And what I do is I make sure that, you know, I don't have to necessarily, well, that's interesting. I think I put them on the wrong layer. But as you can see, you know, that is a problem. So maybe we'll get rid of the spikes, or better yet, instead of getting rid of them, let's go back in here. Oh yeah. Make sure that for the most part, here we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. Perfect. So there is some danger to that still. But I think I put all these orbs in the wrong layer. So that is kind of annoying. Did I? No, I don't think I did. But if I close off all the layers, then technically, yeah. And I think that's why. It's because the orbs have to go in a different layer. Which is kind of interesting because I put them on the other layer, but let's put them on the player layer. Yes, okay. There we go. Yeah, so all of these orbs have to go on the player layer. And this is one of the things that, again, since this is a live stream here, I mean, obviously in game development things happen, but when I do the courses, I would edit something like this out. So remember, the courses are supposed to be streamlined for your success, right? You know, this is a live situation. This is what you would actually see a game developer do, right? Of course, over time, you start to, you know, recognize some of these silly pitfalls, right? If you want. And we could probably, let's say, move to player layer. And if we really wanted to, actually, we could put the launchers on a different layer too. But I think, if I remember correctly, that looks a bit weird. So, nevertheless, let's take a look at that. So, cool. Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so the other thing is if I push space, what ends up happening is Yeah, okay, there we go. If I push space, then it just completely illuminates the level, which I think is, well, super handy for me at least, right? And so that's basically it. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Next level. Let's duplicate that. Okay, so we'll call that 12. And who knows how many I'll get done, but basically, mostly at the end of this, there's a few other things that's kind of hard to do live. Mostly it's the sound effects. Primarily because sound effect generation is, well, other than if it's like an Atari sound effect, it's going to be fairly difficult. So just keep that in mind. The other thing you always want to do is you always want to save. I think the cloud save, for whatever reason, sometimes the cloud save doesn't work out the way I wanted it to. And I'm going to save as cloud. And yeah, so my cloud, sometimes my cloud doesn't work on Construct 3, but oh well. I think it's got to be something to do with my browser here. So I just save it to disk. Okay, and I save it to disk as often as humanly possible. All right. So for the most part, yeah, there we go. So let's take a look at another level. Now the other thing I like to do is, there are a lot of different features in this. We haven't introduced the Goomba yet, so I like to use up all of my ideas first before I like to use up all my ideas before I actually, move on to something else. So let's go ahead and let's kind of look at this launcher here. And what's a good idea is we will maybe, yeah, what if we did this? Like, what if we had like a launcher here, and let's move that to the dark layer. Okay, so yeah, what if we had like a launcher here, and then another launcher like here? Can I even do that? Let's see. Will the code work? No, I think you have to be on the ground. I mean, we could make it so that you do that, but this is mostly just level design. So I find that, once you enter the level design phase, it's probably best to stay there. That's just my personal opinion, but not everyone does it that way. So let's going to zoom in a bit. On a new MacBook Pro. So I love Construct 3, by the way. It is by far my favorite engine ever. It is absolutely amazing. And I highly recommend everybody use it. It's just, every time I use it, it's awesome. I like it better than Unity, although Unity's not a bad engine at all, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Right? Yeah, interesting. I can't jump when there's a launcher there, so oh well, let's go ahead and let's take a look at this tile map here. So we need to get like kind of a running start. So now you notice I do quite test my games a lot. And this is kind of a throwback to, because I've been doing this for so long, right? Right? Yeah, okay, this is going to work. This is definitely going to work. Right, so it's a throwback to when, used to, a lot of people don't know, but like depending on how long you've been a developer, yeah, okay, so that's gonna have to change there. But depending on how long you've been a developer, basically it was possible at one point to miss an image, and if you miss that image, then you would basically, if you missed an image, the game would crash. Like, that wasn't too long ago where that would happen. So, nowadays everything is so easy, and I love it. So let's let's go ahead and let's see if I can get into this one little thing here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so at least we got that going for us here. Let's just continue along with the development here. So, right, perfect. Maybe I add one more there. What we can do is we can add in a couple of, yeah, you know what we'll do? We'll add that in there. And we'll move the player. We'll start the player off here. And let's add in the player layer. And we will say, where is it? It is the orb. Perfect. Yeah, and we'll just, you know, one of the cool things about this is that, at least this particular game, is that it gets harder as you play it, which I think is a cool mechanic, personally. Not everyone's going to think that's awesome, but I think it's cool. Also, memory is a very hard thing to implement, and the reason why it's hard is because modern people aren't very good at memory. I mean, the Romans were really good at memory, and we can basically thank, you know, kind of thank, quote unquote, our technology for that. So let's see if I can get this to work. Yeah, I guess so. So it is possible to do this. All right, you gotta, perfect. All right, and then you gotta go back. Right, and then it gets a little bit trickier. All right, perfect. That is a great level. Awesome. Now, if you're really good at level design, then you don't actually have to test it as much. Okay, so that's one thing about this here, is that if you're really good at this, you don't have to do that. So let's take a look at another example here, and we'll kind of go forward here as much as we can. One of my favorite techniques is, you know, starting off, you know, kind of right where, you know, have the door right where you start off. I think that's pretty awesome. So let's in this case, I always like to design a level first. And what I'll do actually is we will make this kind of a level with stairs. And there'll be, in this case, you'll have to backtrack. Now, if you don't know if you know something about game design, backtracking is really, how should I say, difficult to design. In fact, you know, if you ever played a game where, you know, you're kind of just bored and you're saying, "Ugh, why am I doing so much backtracking?" Well, that's the game designer's fault. Okay, and you know, you should always be wary of backtracking. So in this level, at least with this mechanic, it makes backtracking kind of interesting. So let's just see if I can get anywhere in this here. And you know what's actually cool? I always like to think, yeah, okay, so we can get to where we need to go. So we got this, and yeah, so we can technically get anywhere we want. So this is a level where it actually makes it really quite simple to just kind of design here, because you can just add in the orbs and you're good to go. So that's cool, but one thing I want to talk about is this. Let me zoom in. Okay, this I kind of just didn't put in there, and this is serendipitously a good idea, and it goes with one of my favorite design techniques called negative space. There's no reason why there can't be any kind of negative space in here, okay? And maybe we'll make that the theme for this level, okay? So we can just have these holes in here, and there you go. You kind of have a design choice that looks really good. And with the like once the door's revealed, it actually looks really cool. Yeah, and I think that looks awesome. Okay. And by the way, this particles, those particles took actually a lot longer than I'd like to admit to put in there. So even though this game looks pretty good, let's go ahead and let's add in these orbs. All right, where is it? Orb. Yeah, okay, so maybe this is a level. Then you can always double select. There we go. And we might as well kind of add in some more of these here. So normally I would do, I kind of like fix the problems with these circles, but I don't think I have Photoshop installed on my new MacBook Pro. I just think I forgot to do it. I think I installed Affinity, which one of our employees here, Kevin, is working on an Affinity course. He actually already has one, but he's working on more of them. If you don't know, Affinity Designer and Affinity Pro are kind of these alternatives to Photoshop. And after using it for a while, like I've been using Photoshop for, oh boy, a long time. Ever since like 2004. Yeah, so a long time. So it's kind of hard for me to just kind of abandon Photoshop and move on to something else. But, Affinity has this thing where, there's only, you don't have to pay a subscription for it. So that's kind of interesting. That you don't have to do that. And a lot of people were very, very upset with that. Like they were very upset with, paying a monthly fee for Photoshop. So they go, and that's why Affinity Designer is the way it is. All right. Yeah. So that's pretty good. Although it's not really that difficult. So what we need to do is we need to add in some obstacles here. Okay. So, but I'll talk about Affinity in a second. Let me just add in some of these obstacles. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we need to do that. Because otherwise this level wouldn't be so good. Otherwise. So let's just kind of go ahead and do that. Actually, I think I need those back in there anyway. You can still preserve that minimalist aesthetic. It just changes up a bit. And if we really want to be evil, we could put one like right here. In fact, that's actually a pretty good idea. I kind of like it. Yeah, so that way, you have to just be a little bit, just pay a little bit of attention to it. Okay, so I think that works. Yeah, and of course, you can add in the death objects here, so perfect. All right, yeah. All right, now, okay, so this is why we test things. It's because you got to do that. These obviously cannot be there. But what we can't actually, you know what? These orbs are also, when you think about it, there's a lot of these games, by the way, that kind of give you like an orb or kind of like a trail of light to follow. And I guess that's kind of what this is. Subconsciously, that's kind of what my mind does. But let's see, can I actually make this jump? Yeah, you can. Okay, so you can make the jump. That's all you're looking for there. Okay, and then one of the things when you're an indie developer, you have to be very, very, very conscious of your time. So you want to spend the least amount of time making a level. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, and it might even sound a bit lazy to you. But believe it or not, there are lots of problems that you have to deal with as an indie developer, and you want to you want to be as efficient with your time as you possibly can, right? So I actually really like that concept. So I'm going to build something similar, and no, that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close this off. And you know what? yeah, I'm going to close this off. So that way we know where we're going. Yeah. And I'm going to erase that here. Now, some of these levels, you know, when I was testing them out, I just wanted to, like, all right, let's get rid of that. Like, I mean, instantly we have to erase a few things here. Erase that. Let's see if that works. And you notice in the last level, I actually didn't use the launcher. So that's something that's cool or interesting at the very least. Okay, so let's try that again. And the other thing that you want to do is, all right, let's get that light back on. Okay, perfect. Okay, so basically I'm kind of funneling them away, you know. See, that's a good idea. We can just, so you know what we'll do is we will do this almost all the way so the player can come back and okay, that probably works. Yeah, okay. And then what we'll do is we'll do the standard thing where we put the door, actually put the door, yeah, we'll put the door right here. It'll be up to you whether or not you remember this. And what we'll also do, which I think is actually a pretty good idea, is not putting the orbs down here. I think that's a pretty good idea. So let's go ahead and let's add in these orbs here. And there's so much cool stuff we can do, actually. We can, you know, maybe just one orb per platform here. But, you know, there's a lot of possibilities in this. Now, if you've taken the courses, or any of my courses in particular, I like to talk about archetypes, you know. And if you don't know what an archetype is, it's kind of like a symbol that's universal. Games, believe it or not, have symbols that are universal. And I would even go as far as to say that mechanics can be archetypal too. That may sound a little esoteric, but the platform is definitely an archetype we all understand now. I mean, everyone's played Super Mario Brothers. Like, literally everyone. Well, most gamers have. I mean, it'd be hard to kind of find someone who couldn't do that. So I don't think we even need to test it at this point. We can get all of these items here, and if we really want to, we can add in that one extra bit of difficulty, right? And let's make it a pit. Okay, let's make it a pit here. Generally, when you have spikes on the ground, it's a little frustrating. I mean, it's not like it's a bad idea, but it's a little frustrating. Okay, can we get here? We can. We can get the way back. Okay, so we can jump over that pit, which is great, and we can move under here. And what's it? And like I said before, see how there's like that little blind spot? You know, you might not be able to do that, but if you look very carefully, the reason why I set up the game so that it kind of faded in. The reason why I set up the game to fade in like that is so that you can't see that area. Okay, so that's good. I think we're good to go on that one too. So 14, perfect. So we're moving along. Slowly but surely, we're building these levels out. Okay. So again, there's a few things that we do need to do, like adding the death sprites for spikes and whatnot. But we also need to kind of stylize this a little bit more. But I think I think we need to do that as much in this here. So for the most part, yeah. Also, I got a question about, do I release for Android? Not yet, but soon. Okay, it's on our to-do list. It's on our to-do list for sure. There's no reason why we can't There's no reason why we can't have it for Android. But I just haven't gotten around to it yet. A lot of my day is set up trying to make Mammoth awesome. And Mammoth is going really well, by the way. I can't stress that enough. Every day something cool happens. So, and by the way, if you want any of Mammoth's courses, please let us know. There's a contact on our site. We have very competitive rates. We also give lifetime access to corporations, so that's also cool. So if you're into that, you can go to mammothinteractive.com and go to our contact page. Right? We're getting more and more emails like this every day of just people wanting to. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Now let's see. Where is that? So we want to. It's about here. Okay. Now we can make this pretty difficult. And why not? Let's make it difficult. So on the note of difficulty, believe it or not, this game in particular is actually a really challenging game. But it's not challenging in the sense that I don't think it's challenging in the sense that it's unfair. I think it's challenging in the sense that that it's just a challenging game, and that's actually really a hard line to do, because a lot of game companies now, they have these really super easy modes to it. Like Nintendo's notorious for adding in like an easy mode. You know what? Let's have the player drop down again. Okay, so let's see if I can actually do this here. So again, we're just testing. Yeah. So, it's like little things like that. It's like, well, okay, obviously it sounds cool if you want to do that, but let's kind of take that away first. And this is why you test. Okay, so obviously whatever you do add needs to be above that. So 1, 2, and that, yeah, and actually that works out really well, because that way it forces the player to do this cool launcher again. Yeah, there we go. And I don't have time for that. So let's, okay, so obviously, gotta take that out, and okay. Let's try that. And then you don't really need to do the launcher anymore. There we go. And by the way, if you've taken a course from me specifically, I always talk about my favorite color scheme. And that color scheme is off black, off white, and a color. And that's basically what this is. So I really tried to make the minimalist work in these kinds of games, and I think I did a pretty good job of it. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's put that on the tile layer. And I'm not going to put one there, but we'll highlight some of these platforms, and we'll highlight it here. And so in the future, we will be uploading for Android, but soon, let's put it that way. I'm actually really impressed with the Mac App Store revenue from Escape Code. I actually didn't think that so anyway, the Mac App Store revenue from Escape Code was actually pretty good. I was really excited about it, actually. So Normally, Mac App Store revenue isn't very good. All right, so actually we did test this, and I think everything's good to go. So, okay, next level. So, let's take a look at this here. Let's try it. And, okay, new level. Okay, so we're already at 16 here. All right, cool. So, how much can we stretch out this, what we have so far? And that's really the idea, is the more you can stretch out, the better. Okay. Oh, and another thing I should mention before I even continue is, you see how this is scaling, by the way? Scaling is always really difficult, but in this case, because the background color is kind of the same, it does kind of cheat at making, where is it? The type of scaling here, letterbox scale. Most of the time you do scale inner, like I'm making a game right now off of this. Scale inner is, so you get the whole screen here. But this particular way kind of cheats a bit with that. Anyway, I thought that was pretty awesome. But anyway, let's take a look at a couple of, well, we're at 16. Let's see if we can stretch it for maybe 2 or 3 more levels with just the launcher here. And what you want to do with the, is you want to kind of, well, we can move the door anywhere, but let's just kind of move that down for the moment. Let's see. And you're starting to get to the end. You need to add more functionality when you start, scratching your chin and say, hey, yeah, I need to kind of have a hard time. But this is something called divergent thinking. And divergent thinking is something I do very well. A lot of people don't. And the school system doesn't tell you that you're good at this. So let's just test this out and see where it goes. Boom. Okay. Yeah, I think that whole thing needs to be like down a bit. And I haven't saved in a while. I've been developing games for long enough to understand that, if you don't save it enough, your power can go out and you've lost all your work, which happened to me many times. So, I most of the time, like ever since like 2012, I've been on a laptop, and that's been pretty good. But you know what we can do? The other thing about game development is that there's no rules. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a top here. And so I'm not going to have a top here. So the player was hitting their head on it. And so there's yeah, boom. Okay, so that's kind of what I want to do here, is I want to have this big arch over top. But then what? Well, you know what? I'm gonna actually, here's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, no, I think I know exactly what I want to do. So, the other thing about minimalism is that you don't, yeah, okay, so I can't quite make it there. The other thing about minimalism is that if you do it right, then no one's going to notice or care. Do it wrong and everyone's going to, lose their minds, really. So, let's just do that. All right. Well, something's up. So I'm going to just do that. So having this 2 level of spikes isn't a bad idea. It's probably a pretty good idea. And what we'll do is we'll have a trajectory that you have to get. If you don't get that trajectory, then if you don't get that trajectory, then you have to restart the level. All right. So, oh yeah. And that's why you have to put the launchers, by the way, on the dark layer. Because if you don't put them on the dark layer, then they completely disappear. All right, so let's try that again. Can I make it? Oh, restart. I don't think I can make it. Wait, can you? Yeah, no, you can't do that. So, yeah, so we gotta eliminate that by one more still. All right, and okay. Now getting the actual orb here. So let's kind of move that over. Yeah. And then I think if we do things like this, let's see if we can do this in one design without having to redo it. Okay. So, going back to that archetypes, by the way, when you assign things to a grid, that also complements the archetype. Yeah, okay. So you see that, this is why we test things, of course. But yeah, okay. So better yet, we'll just move this over here. And nope, we don't want that. I think that will work. So the ascension part's hard. So let's see how that works. Boom. No. Let's try that. I do test a lot. Okay, well, so kind of up here. There was an engine the other day, or well, I saw it at one point in time, that did have the ability to kind of, reset. There we go. Let's try that again. Boom. Let's clean that up a bit. I think it was just these last three that didn't quite get it. Yeah. All right, maybe that. Kind of a weird arc. Whether it's aesthetically pleasing is another issue, but there we go. And then you can just kind of get that. Ha! I like it. Yeah, there we go. Good. Not quite done yet because, well, maybe just having the door floating up in space, is that a good idea? Yeah, actually I will do that. Well, no, I'll keep it on the ground here. Well, obviously we should probably spell something out here with these orbs. I mean, that's just gotta happen, right? Right, and so this thing is that, if you don't get it just right, you're gonna have to redo the level. And then, perfect. Yeah, and so having it on the ground like that makes a lot more sense because then you'll get to see the pit, so it kind of reminds you. Okay, so I think that works well. So download a copy of that. All right, and cool. Now, look at that. We have a lot more people. Let's see, how many people do we have in here? Okay, so we had 9, now we have 7, so there we go. Not bad. Okay, so what level is this? 16? All right, let's keep on going until I physically can't do anymore. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this 17 here. And, all right, let's add in something else. Let's add in the Goomba. So we'll make a couple of Goomba levels. So let's put that here. And I believe we need to send them to the dark layer. Yeah, otherwise they completely just disappear. Yeah. All right. So I just had a really awesome idea. Yeah, so there's two Goombas here. There's an invincible Goomba and a Goomba you can jump on. Okay, so now the invincible Goomba, you know, if we put it on a different layer, then you can kind of see that it doesn't go away. So let's put that on the dark layer here, and let's test this out here. And again, this game wasn't complete. Like, all the mechanics weren't quite complete. There's a couple things that we should probably do here. There we go. So you know, it looks like the death logic hasn't been put up here, but any event, I think that looks pretty neat. Yeah. But the invincible Goombas. All right, now here's the cool part. Right, ready for it? Let's hop into the, where is it? Invincible Goomba logic. All right, so is there an onCreated here? There is not. So let's go to Invincible Goomba onCreated. We will go to Invincible Goomba, spawn another object. And that object, of course, will be a light. Okay, now this is going to be cool. Invincible Goomba, spawn another object, and it's going to be the light. All right, and then the layer, of course, is going to be the dark layer. Okay, so let's just test that first. Yeah, so technically it spawns it here. Okay, and then of course it's live game development, so we're gonna have to make a couple of backtracks here. But basically, we're gonna go to System, every tick, and we're gonna say, well, not quite here. We need to keep this light on. We need to attach it. We need to attach this light to the Goomba here. Okay, so I think a pin object would be good. Let's go to that invincible Goomba, or is it the light that we need to put it on? Okay, light. Okay, I don't think that's it, or is it? There's no fade out time. Okay, perfect. Okay, no. So the light, definitely a light. We're going to add in the pin. Oh, look at that. It's already on there. That's what we get. So we're going to go to light, pin, to object, and that object, of course, is going to be the invincible Goomba. Okay, good. So I'm working this project for a while, so sometimes it takes a couple seconds to, there we go. So this is what the invincible Goomba is going to do. It's going to give you a light source. But the cool part about this is that the Goomba itself is actually harmful. So you're getting something, but there's also making it a little bit more challenging. Now, if I really wanted to, I could add like 4 more Goombas with like different kinds of lights attached to it. But for now, I think we'll just leave it like this. Okay. But let's add in one more invincible Goomba. Let's add in the layer here, and we'll move this to the player layer. Okay. And then one other thing is we do want this to be at the bottom. So invincible Goomba, move to bottom. Okay, so, and we're going to do that, by the way, before we spawn everything. Okay, so you'll see, there we go. And that's what I'm looking for, right? I think it's a really cool thing, and you'll notice that it also kind of hides the other Goombas. So do we want that or not? Let's quickly test that out. Let's change that to player layer. Because if we put it on the player layer, it'll completely disappear, so we have to answer that quickly. Yeah, well, either way, either the light hides it, or either the light hides it, or yeah, either the light hides it, or the light hides it, or the layers hide it. So I think the light hiding is pretty good. So what we'll do is we will give the most simple explanation, or kind of a simple way of making this work. Okay, I'm actually going to add in kind of a top layer here. Okay, and I'm going to add in and basically make it so that it's almost impossible to get hit by this thing. Okay, and okay, we'll just move that here. And let's see, player layer here, and we'll just add in like one Goomba, and let's add in a couple orbs. So, and the cool thing about the orbs, by the way, is you absolutely have to get it in order to pass levels. So it will force the player to actually go and get that one orb. Hence it's challenging here. Okay, so add that in here. And maybe we'll add in now maybe 3 of these. Something like that. Cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. So, all right. So obviously, if you hit that, then you die. The death logic isn't quite working the way I want it to, but nevertheless, okay. So basically, this is a pretty straightforward one. But yes, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so you can jump on those Goombas, and the other ones, they have light. So, but later on, there's a buff that will allow you to kill that Goomba. So it makes some cool puzzles here. So anyway, I think that's pretty awesome. It shows you the 2 Goombas in a very non-threatening way. So good whenever you introduce a new concept. Mega Man is the best example of this, but whenever you introduce a new concept, you do it in such a way that it is completely non-threatening. Okay, so like you're not getting put in harm's way. You have to do this all by yourself, and you can see that the Goomba is not only creating light, but yeah. All right, and there you go. And which layer is this on? Did I put it on the dark layer? I think I did. Yeah. So that also kind of poses a bit of a problem. So you can't see the other Goombas. So either you have the option to well, it's ice cream truck if you can hear that. So either you have the option of not seeing the Goombas when it's dark, or not seeing the Goomba when it's light, or not seeing the Goomba when it's dark, or not seeing the Goomba when it's light. So, tricky. That's pretty difficult. So the Goomba makes this game a lot harder. Let's save that. Anyway, nevertheless, it's not bad. All right, so let's add in another one of these here. Or template 3, we already got that. All right, we'll make that 18. One of the hardest things about doing live stream is that your throat tends to get very dry. So, okay, let's make a cool... Now, one of the things that Goombas do is that you can, in theory, just kind of drop them in there to give you extra difficulty. So let's make another Goomba level, but let's not make this one too hard. We're going to still kind of cozy the player up to something that's interesting. And I know exactly what I'm going to do, actually. Exactly. So we're going to make this kind of terraced level design here. Yeah, I like this a lot, actually. I very much like this a lot. You know what? One more. All right, and then there's another Goomba there. Then we're gonna have that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then there's going to be Goombas in all of them. So the orbs. And what this is going to do, actually, is because you can't technically jump, right, within this level here. You can jump here, but you can't technically jump at the other one. And what's interesting about this is that it will force you to jump on the Goomba. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. So we're still kind of, it's like level 2 with the Goomba. First level, it might not have been clear to the player that you could jump on it. Maybe it is clear now. So let's go ahead, let's add these guys in there. And yeah, you know what, we won't add in the invincible Goomba here. And so let's take a look at that. So, you know, you can kind of add in that jumping Goomba logic. And you can kind of see that, but you get killed. So, boom, right? And then sometimes the Goombas, they just kind of stop there. It's kind of an interesting Goomba mechanic here. But anyway, I think that's perfect. But what we'll also do in this level is, where is the flame? Did I call it that? Yeah, orb flame. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to add one piece of item here. So let's just take a look and see how it looks. And then we'll add in the orbs. Yeah. What would look better? Let's double click on this Goomba. It's obviously, if it was black, that would look a lot better, because then you would just see the eyes. All right, that looks like way better. Yeah. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to illuminate this area here. Yeah. Yeah, let's illuminate that. Okay, so next thing. All right, let's do the orb here. And what we'll do is we'll do that. Now, symmetry in a level is important. If anything, that's probably the one thing that makes a shoddily designed level different from a great level. But at the same time, you know, you want to... There we go. Right, there we go. Perfect. There we go. Let's save, download it. By the way, whenever I'm working, I both download it to my PC and upload it to the cloud. It'd be great if there was actually a feature. All right. First of all, let me. There is a place called Death Logic. I believe if I just disable this, it works here. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So when I was re-uploading Pluvo to the App Store, I forgot to disable the debug mode, so I had to re-upload it again. It's very, very common, so it's very good. Now, we just have to find those particles again. Particles. Goomba, right? And I'm just going to make those black because it makes a bit more sense to do that. So anyway, always test before you upload to the App Store. They have test flight in there, so very good. So obviously, yeah. So this is a perfect example of a level that takes you up to the next, or it doesn't introduce a new concept, because you might not have actually been able to jump on the Goomba in the last level. So nevertheless, let's continue on here. All right. Yeah, so we're actually doing pretty good. All right. Should I save it again? All right. Now. Now, the Invincible Goomba was good, but at the same time, let's try and add in some more Goomba logic here. And I do really like the idea of kind of compartmentalizing the Goomba in like these pens, right? And I think that's what we're going to do. Is these Goombas are kind of in pens. And what we could do is we could kind of expand the concept of that terrace, but do it the other way around. It's not a bad idea. So let's do that here. Perfect. Okay. Obviously the player should be maybe around here to start off with. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to take the concept of the terrace, and then we're going to build in these pens. The Goombas. Man, we might as well put that one in here. Door's always in the same position. Let's change that. Move that down here. All right, let's test this first before we add everything else in. Now, this level design, if you kind of if you saw the Pluvo one, this level design is a lot easier. That Pluvo mechanic was a little bit more challenging to design for. Yeah, okay, so basically we can navigate each and every way, and then the hazard that we get are obviously the Goombas. So let's add them in. And let's make sure they're on the right layer first. Yeah, there we go. If we really wanted to, we could add in 2 in one of them. There's no reason why not to. And, oh, we haven't even done the reveal yet. And, great. So it even adds a lot more to it, too. So let's take a look at that. Where is that orb? Yeah, so let's add in an orb. Make sure it's on the player layer. Technically, it can be on the tile layer too. There's no reason why it can't be, but let's obviously make it on the player layer. All right, so we got that here. And now, putting an orb over the door isn't necessarily the wrong thing to do. But if they get that last, you know, being a game developer for so many years, there could be a problem with that. So, I mean, in Construct, it's very rarely a problem, but you know what? Can I get to that top orb? And that's the other thing you want to do in when you're level designing. You just kind of want to say, you know, can I actually get to that? Oh, and you can absolutely get to that. So you can see how this instantly gets way more challenging, like immediately. So because these orbs are collectible, right? Because these orbs are collectible, and they make the game harder, it's kind of like a resource you have to ration. In fact, that's exactly what this is. Light is a resource that goes away, which instantly makes the level harder. So, anyway, can I actually get to that? I think I can. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, okay, perfect. So, I just tested that door there. That works for me. Okay. Not a bad idea. Let's download it again, and we're at 19. Perfect. All right. Let's duplicate that. Level 20. So yeah, so we're almost approaching the 90-minute mark, and I did do a little bit of talking at the beginning, but you know, for the most part, it's, you know, the level design is going a little bit faster. All right, let's see, what can we do? Yeah. Thinking like, what am I thinking? We can take that exact idea of terrace and yeah, because it's not a bad idea. I was going to use the Invincible Goomba, but let's try a different level design here. And one where we kind of move to, you know, kind of left and right like this. That's probably the better way to do it. And, okay. Yeah, I like that. And this is going to be one of those levels where you start and end in kind of the same spot. But I'll just start to play her up here. So you know what I'll do? Yeah. Move the door here for the time being. And obviously that... Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, so just want to make sure we can get to everything here. Okay. So if we drop a bunch of Goombas in here, okay, here's yeah. So if we drop a bunch of Goombas here, they're eventually going to pool down towards the bottom. So let's do that. Let's experiment with that. Let's drop a couple Goombas up here. And then we'll drop 4. That might be a bit too hard. But you know what we'll do is we will put in the, where is it? We will put in the flame. We'll be a little more generous on this level. Yeah, like that. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, as you can see. Some blind spots in there. Okay. Yeah, it's probably good. Let's drop in some orbs here. Layer. And what I'll do is I'll add in quite a bit of orbs. Now, I think in my original concept for this game, I wanted to have some pretty cool particle effects. So, next live stream, make sure you check out, because this will most likely be on the App Store by the time the next live stream is there. So look out for that, first of all. Yeah. And I'll probably add in some cool effect. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Probably some particles. But if I remember correctly, I did test it, and it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So, in fact, at this point, we don't even need that. Just add in that guy. No, actually, we kind of do. All right, so if we run that. Yeah. Okay, so there's ample room for you to... Oh yeah, so you can see how it gets immensely harder. So what you gotta do is, although waiting isn't always the best mechanic, in this level it's kind of crucial, right? Yeah, there we go. All right, excellent. Let's download that again. All right, cool. All right. Let's duplicate that again. We'll make that 21 here. I don't know how many levels I'm going to do, but I will do as many as I can. So, next up, let's add in the reveal. Okay, so we'll make an introduction level. Reveal. Where is it? Things alphabetical order, so you might as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put the player like literally like right here, and it will reveal. Well, I guess we can't really reveal the door. Yeah, no, that's a leftover from Pluvo. So let's. Yeah, the reveal is not going to work because the reveal happens when you add in the orb. So, okay. Let's add in, what else do we have here? We have the Goombas, we have the invincible Goombas. Let's make an invincible Goomba level. Okay, so we'll go with the idea of the pens too. So, yeah, okay. Here we go. Here's a cool idea. All right. Yeah, that does work. Just for consistency's sake, I put an extra little hop there because it looks like it's a pen. All right, let's test this to see if it works, and then we'll add in one of the orbs. Now, the other thing is you always want to ask yourself. Yeah, that's not going to work. You always want to ask yourself, you know, what can I do differently? And in my case, you know, just because we've been adding in lots of orbs doesn't mean we can only add like one. And I think that's kind of what we're going to do in this level. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we can get to everywhere we need to go. Okay, restart that level. Okay. Invincible Goomba might move too fast. You know what I mean? Then that top platform's kind of superfluous. But like that. Okay. Orb. Let's just add, yeah, I think let's just add one orb there. Where are those invincible Goombas? Right, perfect. 1, 2, 3. And you know what we'll do is we'll have just a regular old Goomba right there. Because otherwise it's too quick. Yeah. All right, so the concept with this is that, you know, since the invincible Goombas have light attached to them, and that's really neat, actually. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm so glad that I did that. But since the other Goombas have light to them, right, you don't need the orbs, right, because they're the ones that's providing the limited resource. And the cool part about this is that, you know, the level doesn't really change. And yeah, and in fact, actually this part here where you can kind of go around the back is even better. Pretty cool. I think I like that. That's awesome. Right, let's duplicate that again. 22. Okay. And yeah, let's see what else. I mean, there's so many cool things we can add in here. Let's take a look at 22 here. Okay, let's add in the super jump, because we're getting to the point where let's send that to the dark layer. Let's see how that looks. So the super jump. Yeah, okay. It allows you to like jump really high. So let's add in a quick level with the super jump. And it's actually a pretty good level. So super jump, I believe you can get up to something like that. Let's double check that. Can. Right, so we got that. Yes, perfect. Perfect and perfect. And yeah, okay. I don't know what I'm looking for. And should we have a floating door? Good question. Why not? I think that's not a bad idea. And let's make this as much as humanly possible. All right, so we got this. Oh, and by the way, I might actually put this on pre-order. Yeah, okay, so that's obviously not. Instead of actually releasing it next week, I might actually put it on pre-order. So I haven't decided yet. All right, let's try that again. So I got the jump. Can I go the other way? Perfect. Okay. So this is something that serendipitously happened. Okay. So you can barely just make it back and forth, but you'll find that if you hit it too early, All right, you might not be able to get it. So it takes used to getting to this high jump, but that's basically it. And you know what? We'll put some orbs right there too. Okay, so there we go. Let's add in the orb. Not on the dark layer, of course, but on the player layer. Where's that? Orb. So, yeah. And this one will go back to adding as many orbs as you possibly can. Okay. Okay. Let's run that. Okay, so right now you can't get it. But we instantly run into the problem of this. So maybe it's not good. We can actually, there's no rule that it has to be on the dark layer or on one layer for the entire game. As long as the player gets it, right? You know, that's what we're looking for. Right? That was the problem I was experiencing earlier. This gets difficult fast. But then again, you know, it's the rules that we've set up so far. You know, only collect the orbs you need to. And, you know, once you pass this game get stuck in a level for a few times, then you're going to remember it. Like, I know there's a platform there. Right? Then again, I'm designing the game too, so that's kind of unfair. But, yeah. In fact, I'm just going to... All right. Did that thing just go back on the dark layer? Okay. Cool. That works. Next level. 23. Save it. Cool. All right. Perfect. Just checking some messages here. I think everything's good. Okay. 23. What do I want to do now? Well, obviously, let's use that buff jump here. And, all right, so we got a buff jump here. So, all right, well, the most obvious thing we would want to do with the buff jump is we want to jump over like these huge columns. Let's just try that for the moment. In fact, if anything, that should be the first level. You know? Yeah, so I'm actually going to switch this up. So sometimes you make the levels not in the right order. Okay, so there's no rule against, you know, as you build these sequentially, that's going to actually be the sequence of the game. No rule whatsoever. So, what do we want to have here? Okay, I have an idea. Introduce a couple of concepts at the same time. Can I get out of there? Yeah, not quite. 1, 2. And let's see here. Yeah, we'll probably do more like that than 4. It's not symmetrical, but kind of makes like a face there. Nevertheless, okay. Okay, that's exactly what we're going to do. Goomba, Goomba, Goomba. Perfect. Next up, we're going to do the orb. Let's add those in here. So, and the whole point of this level is to show you the control over the jumping and the Goombas. 100% that's what we're doing this for. Okay, so let's just copy and paste these Goombas here, or these orbs I should say, and then that's actually kind of a pattern I haven't used yet. So we got all of these lights here, and again, it allows you to kind of figure things out first without any kind of consequences. Yeah, and then you gotta be able to jump, onto the Goomba or whatever. And there we go. So this is a better first level. In fact, we can even go one step further. Okay, I wasn't going to do this, but okay, so this 23 might be better suited, and the way I do this here is, you can't obviously call it 22, so I'm going to call it 22A, and then I'm going to rename this one, call this 23, and then rename this one and call this 22 again. So that's kind of what I do when I need to replace the level here, okay? So there we go, we got the buff jump, etc. And just trying to look at this here. All right, so I'm thinking maybe just about 2 more levels for this here, at least for this session. Maybe I'll do another session where I make more levels. Okay, and obviously we need to call that 24 here. Yeah. Okay, so let's double click on that. And yeah, we can make that pretty difficult actually. Again, we'll use the buff jump because that's kind of what you want to do here. And give this room. And where's that buff jump? Yeah. Okay. Let's just run that for a quick moment here so I can kind of just test where we're at with it here. So we jump on here. We jump. So we can make it like one step past this little marker. All right, that actually doesn't look too bad. So let's do it. So basically we can do that. And if you really want to thread the needle, we could do that. Which, why not? It's always good to have a good hard level like that. So let's double check this. In Pluvo, there was some really, there we go. Just barely make it. Okay, so we now know that that works. Let's see how high we can get now. Okay, so it's pretty high with the buff jump. Let's take a look at that here. Yeah, probably around there. And then here. Yeah, that's probably good. And okay. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. Of course, this is why we test things, because now you can't make it there. So also, this is like a, if you look at the screens of this, they're just kind of one screen here. And by the way, I haven't really mentioned it, but because we didn't really test it because I've already tested all the game off camera here, is that this game actually does run fairly decent on mobile. And if you don't know, Construct 3 has this amazing feature called Remote Preview, and all you have to do is take a picture of it on your phone, and it works. Best feature. It's one of my favorite. And I have lots of favorite features in Construct 3, but that is probably top 5 for sure. Okay, so let's add these orbs here, and let's see. Can we get away with adding in some of them here? I think we probably can. You know what, I'm going to do that. It's kind of a cool looking pattern. All right, let's see if we can actually do that. Collect all those. So, yeah, so I won't be able to get those two. I don't think I can get them. Yeah. No, okay, so let's remove those two, or at least move them. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And yeah, okay, you can, yeah, they can backtrack and get that. And then we established we can get up there anyway. What we need to establish though is, can we get these? No. Why don't we make it so that we kind of jump for these last two? Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, I think that works. All right, 24, one more level. At least for today. I'll kind of clean some things up too. So, 25, what should we do? Well, let's use the buff jump anyway. And when we start, let's go the other way. Tile map. That's not what we're looking for. We are looking for the buff jump. Maybe we have to go get it. Yeah, there we go. Like that idea. It's just not, it's not immediately available to you. There we go. Yeah. Works for me. So we want to force them up to get that buff jump. And go forward with that. So 1, 2. After you don't have the buff jump, everything is super slow. So Let's see if we can get there. Okay, so we can get there. We can technically jump up. Okay, so let's put in 2 pens. I think those pens will work. So if we jump up, straighten, I think we can get there. And then, yeah, might as well do this. 2. Yeah, okay, that's going to be challenging enough. Okay, so let's get that buff jump. Perfect. Okay, so we're still here. Okay, we can get that guy. And then can we get up here? Ooh. Let's see. Yes, we can. Okay, so basically, yeah. Basically, yeah, we get that. Okay, so let's drop in some Goombas. 1, 2, and then add maybe 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that probably works. And then let's add in the orb. So we get the orb like that. Perfect. All right, that works. Like that. 2 down here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll move these over here. Might as well move this guy here. Almost there. We'll put the door right next to the player. Okay, so let's take a look at that. I think this is probably it. Okay. Yeah. So we gotta jump on the Goomba. And then, yeah, okay, so we got all that. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. I think that works out really well. A couple of things before we go is let's change this to an all black, and that way things will definitely work a bit better. All right. Yeah. So as things fade out to black, that buff jump looks a little bit better. Now, if we really wanted to make it stand out just a bit more, what we would do is we would take some of the white here. Obviously, we want this to be more like 2. And we would give it a border. Like that. Yeah. Let's see how that looks. Right. I think we're almost there. I mean, yeah. What's the major difference? Well, I think if we were to just add that in there and add that like that. And then bring that down to 1. Yeah, that looks a lot better. All right, so adding in that border here, probably the right move. So let's just test that one little bit more. I think that's going to be it for today. Yeah, okay. Perfect. Yeah, okay. I think it looks good. All right, cool. Well, let me save that before I kind of exit here. Now, we did have a winner last time. We'll post the winner of last time's in the comments. And then next time, we'll post the winner again. So remember, if you show up for the live streams, you're eligible to win a 3-month subscription. Okay? Please support us on Patreon. It really does help us. $1 a month from a lot of people will make this work out really well. You can check out Pluvo on the App Store. Please make sure that you pledge for this Battle Royale on Kickstarter. It's a really awesome course, and we do have a big announcement about that tomorrow, okay? And if you haven't already checked out Escape Code, please do. They're awesome, okay? So that pretty much wraps up this live development stream. Thank you so much for coming today, all right? And we'll definitely see you in another live stream. We're going to do basically one a week for the next little while, and then we'll go from there, all right? Thanks again.